Hello there guys, welcome to another KD Crafts. This week we are looking at making a kaleidoscope using an old stacking crisps tube, Pringles tube or a Snackers tube, and a couple of permanent markers, and that's all you need. So let's grab our materials and let's get started. Okay, so for this project you're not going to need that many materials at all. You're going to need a Pringles tube or a stacking crisps container. As well as that, you're going to need some silver card or some reflective mirror cards. Then to add some colouring to the top of your kaleidoscope, I chose to use some permanent marker pens, but you could use some thin coloured tissue paper and some glue or some transparent sequins. And then after that, the only other tools you're going to need are going to be a ruler, a pencil, and a pair of scissors for cutting the card. You can also use a sharp knife for cutting off the base of the tube. So the first thing you're going to need to do, once you've cleared those things away, is remove the top of your lids so you're left with your tube. So before we do anything, what we're going to need to do is remove the end part here of your metal tube. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my knife, dip it in there, and then just very carefully saw it on through to remove the end of the tube. Right. Okay, you won't need this, so you can put that to the side, and then we're on to the next step. So put your tube to the side, because we're going to need that later. So our next step is going to be cutting the pieces of mirror. So for this step, you're going to want to take one piece of mirror cards. I managed to pick up my pack for $1.50 from Hobbycraft, so actually this works out to be quite an economical make. Then what you want to do is, if you actually put it on sideways, you'll see the mirror card is pretty much the right height if you use the width of an A4 sheet. So what you want to do is take your silver card, flip it over onto the other side, and then using your ruler and your pencil, you want to measure out 3 pieces which are the same length. So in order to make this project, you're going to need to cut your strips to be 6.1 centimetres wide. To do that, just take your ruler and line it up, and every 6.1 centimetres, make a little mark. Whenever you're doing this, I always find it helpful. There you go, one mark there, 12.2, 18.3, and then once you've done that, just rule your lines and use your scissors to cut it out. Once you've done that, you should have 3 pieces look a little bit like this, which, when you take your tube and fit them in so the silver's facing inwards, 1, 2, and 3, you get that nice mirror effect, which you can probably see actually from the camera there. My fingers over the end there, you can see they're starting to reflect quite nicely inside there. So with your mirror pieces cut, we're actually very nearly there. So put your piece to the side. The next thing you're going to need to do is take your end cap, because this is going to be the piece we're going to attach our kaleidoscope colours to. So as I said earlier, you can either stick some coloured tissue paper on top of there, because you're going to be turning it, you'll get a lovely kaleidoscope effect, or you can go for a slightly different approach. If you've got some coloured pens that won't rub off, so Sharpies or permanent markers are great, what you can do is you can take a favourite colour of Sharpie and go from different shapes. I find that triangles work particularly well, so all you want to do is just draw a shape onto your lid and then just colour it in using your permanent marker. Once done that, why not put another shape at another place on your lids. Make sure to colour it in nice and firmly so there's no extra bits left over. Once you've done that, swap over your colours and try a different one until you gradually built up lots of different triangles and squares, a couple of pentagons, you can do some star shapes. Remember, the smaller they are, the more interesting your reflective patterns are going to be inside your kaleidoscope. So once you've done that, once you've finished that off, you should have something that looks a little bit like this. So I went for as many colours as I could fit in, and you can see here we've got lots of different shapes, got some triangles, got some squares, all sorts. And very simply, this is just going to go back on top of your kaleidoscope there, so when you turn it around, the shapes you see will change. So once you've done that, you've got a couple of options. Now the most important thing we want to do is we want to decorate the outside of the tube. So you could either cover it up with some paper and put some different shapes on. If you've got some sequins, you can stick those on. Covering is one way of doing it. I chose to do it by spraying it a base coat of red, and I stenciled some yellow stars on. So in order to spray paint it, you want to make sure you're spraying from about 15 centimetres away. Make sure you've got some nice back card behind to protect the surface you're spraying onto. And I suggest spraying outdoors to make sure everything ideally to make sure that you're not breathing in the fumes. Okay, so once you've sprayed it, you can then, if you want to, do a bit of stenciling. So for my stencil, I took a kitchen roll holder, I flattened it out and I drawn some stars, and I just used my knife to cut out those stars. Once I've done that, I just placed it over the top of my tube, and then I sprayed it from about 15 centimetres away again, a couple of light coats, let it dry, and then turned it over and did the same thing on the opposite side. And once I'd done that, this was the effect I got. Now there's my red. As you can see here, I sprayed a little bit too close, but this is what you should get if all goes well. So there you can see, this is my finished kaleidoscope. So all I need to do now is I need to put in my mirrors, and I need to put my end piece on. So I'm going to take my 3 mirrors. So I know down that end is my end my lid goes onto. So in go my mirrors. 1, 2, 3. And what you'll find actually is your mirrors fit together pretty snugly. And by the time you put your lid on, oh, there's my lid. Yep, so once you put your lid on, you've got your finished kaleidoscope pretty much. One other thing you can do if you've got a spare lid, I took a spare lid and I just put it on top and I coloured in the extra edges a dark brown because I wanted to cover up those little blank bits. So all you looked at was down the middle there. So there you go, one completed kaleidoscope. And just of course to finish off, I'm going to try holding it up to the camera and see if we can get some nice kaleidoscopic camera action going on. So I'll put it there, try turning it around, and as you turn the lid, the kaleidoscope patterns change inside. I hope you can see that. It seems to be working. Now one thing you can do, which works really nicely, instead of using a... Oh, there we go, that works. Instead of using permanent markers, you can use coloured sequins, as long as they're transparent. A piece of acetate, a piece of tissue paper, all those work really, really nicely. So there we go, one completed kaleidoscope. Do have fun. Don't forget to post some pictures of the ones that you've made yourself. I'd love to see them. Do a little shout out in the next video. Don't forget, we're still doing the old school toys month, so there are some more toys to come up with. And the end of the month, we're doing our big make of doing the bagatelle boards, or the ski wall boards, whichever one you want to put it as. So there you go. Thanks so much for joining me. Hope you've enjoyed the video. If you did, then do like the video, subscribe to the channel for more of the same, and don't forget to share it with your friends. But thanks very much for watching, and I will catch you in the next video.